What's going on, guys? Today in this video, we're going to be reviewing Weapons, the brand new Zach Cregger horror film that just released. Is it good or did it not live up to the hype and utterly disappoint? That's what I want to get into here today. But listen, guys, for those of you that have never seen my channel before, don't really know my opinions on films, I am not a big horror guy, but with that being said, I was super hyped for Weapons. You give me a good hook, some type of mystery, some type of creepy direction, a good director, I am sold. Also an awesome cast on top of that. Yeah, give this movie to me. For those of you that don't know as well, this movie was actually supposed to release, I'm over here stuttering because this movie was so damn scary, but this movie was supposed to release early 2026, but they were so confident in this film that they bumped it up like 6 months to August. So that tells you how, I guess you could say, excited the studio was to release this movie, because that shows a lot of confidence to move a movie up 6 months. Super exciting. But listen, guys, did I love this movie? Did I hate it? Let's just get into the nitty gritty here. It's really hard to talk about this film without spoiling, so I am not going to be spoiling anything, though. Probably going to have to dance around certain things, but I'm not going to hint at anything, nothing. But I still am going to try to give my thoughts. I've got to say, man, this movie lived up to the hype. It definitely lived up to the hype, and I think that it's one of the better horror films to come out this decade, because, oh my god, it's more than a horror film. I think to just call this movie a horror film would be almost disrespectful, because it's sort of this rule of three type of film, where you've got three different genres blending together. You've got a mystery, a horror, and a thriller, and the glue that's connecting them, believe it or not, is actually comedy. There's some really funny moments in this movie, and it doesn't seem like the type of movie that would have comedy, but oh my god, it becomes so self-aware at times with its silliness and goofiness that I just loved it. The audience was cracking up, including myself, and man, I was just having such a great time laughing at some of these jokes. But the way it switches from horror to comedy to thriller to a good conversation between two characters with emotions, it's just incredible. And listen, man, Zach Cregger, obviously at the helm of this ship, he's the director. He made Barbarian a couple years ago. Barbarian might be my favorite horror movie of this decade, or at least one of them, because, again, it's so unique. I'm not a fan of, your standard paranormal movie. Again, I'm not even really a big horror guy, but when I do look for a horror film, I look for something new and fresh. And I guess every horror fan does, but at the end of the day, just give me something new. I really liked Together that just came out, because I feel like that was doing something pretty unique, even though it's just body horror still. Then you give me something like this, and oh my god, that trailer sold me so many months ago. And I gotta say, I think at the core of this movie, right, there's just something so creepy about kids being weird, okay? That's the reality. Kids, they're young, they're obviously very naive. You could say they're a little bit stupid because, again, they're children. They don't know how the world works. Not that a lot of adults do either, but it's just the point that kids, again, they're naive, they're very curious. So when kids get weird and when kids do creepy stuff, it's even weirder, because you know they're not really self-aware, and it's harder to communicate with them. And in an instance like this, where you literally can't communicate with them because they just disappeared, it's very scary, and it gives me the chills literally just thinking about it. I actually just got the chills. The trailer, again, just absolutely sold me, and the way this movie starts, kind of just going into this story, what's going on, just kind of laying that foundation, it kicks you off into such an intriguing mystery, because from, again, the second this film starts, your brain is like, oh my god, I just want to know what happened. And the way this film goes about its storytelling, where you're going through different characters' perspectives, kind of bounces around to where you're following one character, then you're kind of left hanging on a cliff. It's like a cliffhanger. It's a little moment where you're just right on the edge. Then it switches perspectives, and then you see the story unfold through their perspective. Then you go through different characters, and the sequence of events, the sequence of characters, I should say, that we go through here unravels things little by little, and you start to see the layers peel off, where you're given a little information here, a little information here, a little information here, and you're just slowly fed over the course of the film to finally hit that big conclusion as to what did happen to these kids. Because again, it's not a surprise. It's not like, oh my god, they never tell us. No, there's obviously going to be a reveal. It's a mystery film, it's a horror film, and I've got to say, man, just getting into this really quick, and again, without any spoilers whatsoever, did I like the reveal, or just the concept of what actually happened? Again, no spoilers, just putting it to you straight. Yes, I liked the reveal. I loved the concept of what was going on, but I think I liked the execution. So, what was actually happening, right? The idea of what was going on. I think that was higher than what I was actually watching on screen, if that makes sense. Sometimes I feel like there was bits and pieces of information that I would have liked to have been told rather than kind of have to just guess for myself. But at the end of the day, if you're just kind of going with the flow, I think that you'll have a great time. And I've got to say, man, again, this story is just absolutely incredible. I think all the characters of the movie are very interesting. They all have like their own unique personalities and motivations, especially because maybe you're following a father that lost a child, or the teacher of the classroom where all the kids disappeared, the principal of the school, and on and on and on and on. All these people have different perspectives and their own unique flaws as humans as well. And I don't want to get into the thematic elements of this movie whatsoever, because again, this is the type of film where maybe watch 10 seconds of a trailer just to get a vibe. Besides that, don't see anything. From there, let me get into the horror aspects here. Zach Cregger is just cooked. He cooked with the horror aspects. One complaint I could say is that I do wish it was a bit scarier at times, and that's coming from somebody that is an absolute crybaby when it comes to scary movies. Wish it was a bit scarier sometimes, and I just mean quantity-wise, not quality-wise, because the quality of scares in this movie, oh my god. Yeah, sure, there's your jump scares, which are very creative in this movie, might I add, but there's a lot of scenes that are just creepy, where maybe you're just watching, again, like in the trailers, obviously everyone's seen, kids running at night. Something about that is very unnerving. Or maybe you're just watching this long take of something slowly unfolding and a character isn't aware of what's going on. Maybe there's something happening in the background that somebody doesn't see. There's just these creepy, chilling situations where all you can think is, oh my god, I would not want to be this character if it was the last thing on earth that I had to do, because Jesus Christ, it's literally just rattling. It literally rattles your brain. I was like covering one eye with some of these sequences. They're horrifying, they're terrifying, but they're relevant to the plot, and they keep you on the edge of your seat, because one thing this movie does so well is really hooking you. But not just with the hook, it continues to hook you, because it drops more information, and sometimes, this is the thing, because this movie tricked me, okay? Not a spoiler again, I'm just talking here generally, okay? I don't want to keep saying not a spoiler, but this movie kind of tricks me, because the first act maybe goes by, the first 20 minutes, maybe two characters having a conversation, and I'm like, you know, that was a cool conversation. I guess like they know each other, but I wish I kind of got a little bit more background on like who this other character was. Like, we didn't really get to know them. I didn't really fully understand what they were talking about, maybe 75%, and I was like, okay, whatever. Then 30 minutes will pass by. Then we get the context and the background of that conversation or that thing that happened, and I'm like, oh, that actually isn't a flaw of the movie. I just wasn't exposed to the information yet. And then they go super in-depth on what happened. Like, you're not left out of what's going on in this story. Sometimes it might seem like the movie's actually doing a bad job at telling you information, but then you realize where the direction is going and that, no, we're going to tell you what's going on. Just wait 30 minutes. Wait 45 minutes. Wait even just 10 minutes. We'll get there. And this movie's direction, it really is bold. It really does go for it. Like, especially, like, I don't want to say anything, like, specific, but with some of these perspective changes and the chain of events as to what happens after what, and, again, the mystery elements, I'm such a sucker for a good mystery, and you cannot predict where this movie goes, okay? Not gonna drop it in an ounce of detail in this video. You literally cannot predict where this movie goes for the life of you. And thank God I didn't watch any, like, trailers and stuff, because I watched one of the most recent trailers now that I've seen the movie, and it gives so much away. Watching that first trailer, perfect, all I needed. Give me the vibe, give me an idea, that's all I need. But man, this movie's great. I know I didn't really go into too much detail because it's tough to, man. It really is tough to, but just know you're getting a little bit of everything with this movie, but it's all really high quality. You're getting good laughs, great horror, a really intriguing mystery, and also some really strong thematic elements that I really can't get into, because the second I say the themes, it could almost spoil the movie, honestly. So, don't want to get into it. Really unsettling. I'm going to be thinking about this movie for a while, but what would I rate this film? I am going to give Weapons a 4 out of 5. I think it's just an awesome movie. One of the better horror films this year. This and Together are kind of neck and neck for me. I think Weapons beats it out, but I think this is like my 5th or 6th favorite movie of the year so far. I loved Weapons, and it's really unnerving. I might want to rewatch it too to kind of see what I pick up on a second watch, now that I've seen the whole film and I know where things go. One other complaint that I might want to add is that I think the movie's maybe slightly long. It's a little bit overly long, maybe by just like 10 minutes, because there's a certain point, especially towards, I feel like, the beginning of the third act where things are interesting, but it's just that we're seeing so much of this interesting thing that I'm kind of just like, I don't really think we needed that. It kind of does drag, but boy does it hit at the end, and things get pretty crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.